Hello, everybody, and welcome back to GuidePoint Security Podcast. Today, we'll be talking with Jonathan Singer, who is our director of our SIEM and SOAR practice here in the Southeast region. Jonathan, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and why you're here?
Alrighty, hey Trace. Yeah, thanks for that. I am indeed the professional services director for SIM and SOAR and all things in between down here in the southeast region of GuidePoint Security. I've been with the company for about 8 years now, coming up, and this is my passion, my love between everything cybersecurity and working with those logs and data.
So, a lot of folks have heard the terminology SIM or SOAR, but might not know what it is. Can you tell us a little bit about what is a SIM technology and why it's important?
Absolutely. So SIM, or sometimes pronounced SIEM, as you may have heard, it basically stands for Security Information and Event Management. And so if we kind of just break that down, we take all this information from across our organization, whether it's from systems and endpoints and servers, or even networking equipment and racks, non-conventional computers, or really anything that just outputs logs. And we bring all of those events back to a centralized location, and that's where we're easily able to manage, make sense of the data, process it, search across it, and even do those really cool dashboards that you see.
Now, what about the SOAR technology? How does that overlay or work with the SIM?
Well, so if the SIM is the keeper of all of the data and all of the information that we're looking through, then SOAR, or better known by its acronym of Security Orchestration, Automation, and Response, is kind of the action, the response, the way of handling, the way of dealing with this data. And so I kind of classify SOAR into two main areas. One of them is going to be more of something I call data enrichment. So imagine you have a ticket that pops up, right? And it's got all kinds of information in it, IP addresses, links. Now, you can manually go and look up all these reputations and research all this information, or you can simply have the robot do it for you. And that's what SOAR really kicks in that aspect. Is it kind of helps run some tasks ahead of time, saves you a ton of time, and gives you that information and brings it all back to one easy to read place. Now, the other aspect of it is kind of that response, that reactionary infrastructure capability. And so think of that as, that big red button. Let's say a user was discovered doing something malicious. Well, then I can either push that red button for you, lock them in Active Directory or something, or I can present that red button to an analyst to review all of that information and then make a determined, choice to continue to push it or consider this maybe something else.
Well, it seems like those technologies are pretty key. So, why should a CISO or CISO care or focus on getting these products in their environment?
First off, if you're not already bringing your logs together into one centralized place, you're doing it wrong, right? This technology has been around for a long time. I mean, when I used to work in a data center, I would have what was called a crash cart, and we would run from server to server and plug in a keyboard and a monitor just to pull information and data from that system. Imagine if I could have done this all in one centralized place and quickly look through all that data without having to physically walk up to each system. Now, that right there should be important enough. But really, a modern SIM and SOAR, when paired together, is a fantastic technology that will help you identify security events, help you respond to security events, and help you have a nice backlog for incident response and help you with your compliance when you need to keep your logs for 3 months, 12 months, maybe even longer. Right. And so we're not just improving security through our actions, but we're also keeping things kosher for our auditors.
Awesome. Really is about time savings, right? The collection of time to go get it, the responding to it. You can do a lot of that window is shrunk down. Huge time savings, right? So,
Absolutely. I hate to be the one to use buzzwords, but really the mean time, right? The
mhm.
MTTR is significantly reduced with these kinds of tools.
Awesome. Now, with that, what are some popular use cases that you've actually seen this technology save time and money for the
Oh man,
organization?
all across the industry, and sometimes it's not even security, but really, I'm seeing it where we're collecting endpoint data and we're identifying maybe laptops that are downloading malicious content, most likely, on accident, but still
Hmm.
that's something that could compromise and hurt our network, right? And that information is brought into a SIM instantly, and then a SOAR can see that a malicious event has taken place, automatically, open up a ticket and begin the triage process for that host system. And that's just one simple example of a process that normally a human would do, where maybe your antivirus would trigger an email, right? And so there's a delay in that. And then suddenly you have to go and hunt down this laptop and you have to go and pilfer through what's going on and review it yourself. By the time you're identifying the owner of the account, it's maybe already too late and that ransomware has started to take over and shift files.
It might be too late by that time, right? You're not fast enough on the draw. So those are the theoreticals. What about some of those practical applications you've actually seen and experienced with your customers or our customers down here?
I always try to talk about making best use of that data, right? When you bring in something into your SIM, it should be used by a lot of different people. For example, when you're bringing in application data for some kind of public facing website or service that you have, maybe even an API, that information can be used by your security team and to identify when threats are being thrown at it. It can be used by the network team to determine latency, uptime, and functionality. It could be used by your development team to help debug issues. And so we help businesses kind of think about how to strategize with the information that they have and how to really make good use of the data that's already available to them. All they really need to do is just acknowledge it and bring it together and make it functional.
So this is actually an opportunity for the different silos of an organizations to work together, right? They have a common source of truth. They can help each other out.
Absolutely. It's just a really great opportunity for, information to actually be useful again, and for our security team to embed itself maybe even in other departments within the organization, just to help secure things overall.
Awesome. Well, with that, any closing thoughts or any last things you'd like to make sure the audience is aware of when it comes to these technologies?
Well, I'll tell you what. Either you have a sim or you need a sim. That's just something that I say in today's space. If you're not actively utilizing some kind of tool to bring all of this great log information together, if you're not actively correlating, pilfering, searching, and maybe even automating some of this stuff, it's really something you should consider. Now, if you really want to get into this and you find that maybe that's you, we're always here and available for you to reach out. I would love to have, sit down, have a video chat, have a conversation about what you're doing and how we can really help you solve that, security need, especially when it comes to anything SIM and SOAR.
Awesome. Jonathan, thank you so much for your time today, and I look forward to catching up with you later. Take care.
Trace, it's been absolutely a pleasure. You take care too.
And